morning, everyone. Good morning. That sounds better. I'm not the conventional chief guest, so there is just two things I have to say to you. Okay. While I was giving you your medals and your certificates for your athletic performances, two things that came to my mind. And before I begin, I thought I'll ask you that. Do you want the good news first, or do you want the bad news? Why do we want to start with the bad news? Okay, so the bad news is that I still have to speak. And the good news is that I'm going to keep it really short and sweet. Because when I was there many years ago, that's the first thing that we used to think, that our chief guest really needs to keep that speech short and sweet. Well, I have this file here in front of me, and I'm not really used to these files. But I thought it's important to just share some of my thoughts that I have here today. First of all, I'm honored to be here after 38 years, and I'm honored that I was considered worthy of being your chief guest. And I would like to thank the respected rector for inviting me to this event. And this really feels like gratitude for me. So thank you so much, Mr. Lepki. Paulites, ladies and gentlemen, parents, respected rector, school teachers, and some staff that I can see here. As I stand in front of you right now, there is this very, very strong sense of deja vu. In fact, when I was walking into this hall, and I walked into this hall after 38 years, the last was when in Clive House, I was part of a play that I was doing. It was a farewell play by my house. It was not traditional, but it was done to just show the nuances of what we had gone through in school. And I'm not going to talk about that because I'm aware that all of you are too far away from that generation. But that deja vu comes back to me. It's almost like that movie Star Trek, where Star Prize, the Starship Enterprise, where you had Scotty being called on his radio by Captain Kirk, and Captain Kirk said, "Bring me back." And here I am, being back to 38 years ago, and this is where it all started. To be honest, there's so much that your senior master has said about me. I really don't want to tell you a lot more than that, except that today we've gathered here for the spirit of sportsmanship, teamwork, determination. A school sports day, or rather actually a sports awards day, thanks to the inclement weather conditions, is a showcase of talent, hard work, and dedication. Even though we have missed the live version of running today on those tracks, which I was actually very looking forward to due to the weather conditions, I see a lot of enthusiasm. I see a lot of commitment in this very room. And these medals which I just gave away and those certificates, you don't get them. You really actually have to earn them. Each medal has a lot of preparation, commitment, grit and glory behind it. And when I talk about preparation, I see that a lot of hard work goes into winning those events. It's a story of enthusiasm and commitment, but it's also excellence. You don't get them, but you earn them. Every sports day is made of wins. But I also wanted to point out, it's not always the wins. There are hits and there are misses. We've had a big miss in the Paris Olympics this year for India. And I would like to rather not just talk about the hits, but also the misses. Because I believe it's the misses that actually teach us a lot and make us bounce back and learn something from those losses. A sports day obviously is almost like the phoenix bird that rises up from the ashes. The old myth which says that if you don't get that piece, and if you just miss that first position, there is always another day. You can rise back. And that's when you really need to rethink, reboot and reskill yourselves to come back and prove not to just others but to yourself that you have the capability to strike back. Many of you have now been introduced to me as the first Paulite to complete the Ironman challenge. The Ironman challenge is one of the most thrilling endurance races in the world. I want to share with you how an Ironman race is completed. 2 kilometers of swimming in the ocean, 90 kilometers of cycling, and 21.5 kilometers of running all together, with the transition time where you change from your swim clothes, you get onto your cycle, you wear your helmet, you wear your cycling shoes, and then you race that 90 kilometers after having swum 2 kilometers in the ocean. And then you come back and you remove your helmet and you remove your cycling shoes and you wear your running shoes and you're back there. Of course, this feat was achieved by me almost 5 years ago. There's been a lot of time since then. And COVID has certainly done its bit with me. But the one thing that I wanted to tell you is, when I got that medal out there, and just like you, I came up here to collect that medal, I had the Indian flag with me, but I also carried a very special flag with me, and that's something that I can share with your rector. I carried the school flag. People were actually wondering, what is the second flag all about? Normally when an Indian triathlete wins the veteran race, you have the Indian flag with you and you have a lot of people cheering for you. That flag had a story behind it, and it all started here. Deja vu. It was all about being focused on goals, having a strategy. Trust me guys, that race took me 7 hours and 43 minutes actually, not 7 hours and 30 minutes. But the second one I did much better in Dubai, 7 hours and 25 minutes. It took 11 months of preparation. It meant that I had to work. I was the CEO of my organization. I still had to get up at 3 in the morning to cycle out at 4 o'clock in the morning and cycle 100 kilometers, come back and run another 10 kilometers, get ready, go to work. And while I was at work, managing all the challenges at work, I used to plan how I will swim 80 lengths of my pool in my society. And that's how I used to really work out. I had a coach who was 24 years younger than me, who had achieved what he had achieved for India. And he was not so patient with me. I was all of 52 then, and he was definitely not patient with me. This is where it started from. Ship Enterprise, where Captain Kirk left this place 38 years ago. This is where it started. It was that element of punishment drills that we went through. In our days, I must add, they were quite extensive. They're quite regulated now. There were days we used to be, pushed to the grind. We had to do a lot of things. We had to change our clothes in 2 minutes into different clothes. We had to go for our DES treks. We did our single man treks when we did our Golden Bodies. And all of that translated back into the Ironman. It wasn't about just giving up. It was about rising back from where I thought I hadn't really been successful. And that's the story I wanted to share with you. It's not the wins, it's the losses that make us realize that we need to put in our best wherever we are. And St. Paul's School, Darjeeling, is an area is a school where you don't just focus on academics, you focus on a very holistic education, which I believe is what makes us gentlemen. Which I believe not just builds character, but actually reveals character. That's the belief I have. I summited Kilimanjaro, and just before the summit, when I was hiking about 11 hours, starting at about 12:30 in the night, to summit early in the morning, after having walked for almost 11 hours, I had altitude sickness. trust me guys, that's when I remembered my PT instructor, Mr. Hardeep Singh. And I just remember that one little thing he said, "You little demon, I want you on top of that hill." And I struggled through my altitude sickness, and I reached the summit of Kilimanjaro, putting up my flag, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, also the school flag up there. After the undone, I decided I'm going to climb a few more hills. Kanyang C2 happened to me in Ladakh, Stoke Kangri, Gokyori, west of Everest. And surprisingly, there was this trek that I did with Paulites from different batches. And we trekked up, right up to Goichala. And I remember singing the school song out there. And all of us at that glacier, with about -15, we sung the school song. And there was so much of gratitude for where the school had taken us. It wasn't just education, it was way beyond education. We were gentlemen, and we were there to make sure that we would deliver. There are so many such examples of how people have sprung back. Tiger Woods overcame his injuries and addictions, and he won his first Masters after 14 years. Serena Williams returned to tennis after childbirth and 4 Grand Slams, single titles, despite life-threatening complications. Major DP Singh is a very interesting character. Whenever I run in New Delhi, I see this guy with an artificial leg. He is someone who's not, I wouldn't say that Major DP Singh is disabled. I would say he's differently enabled, because that gentleman has run 46 marathons, and recently he ran the Boston Marathon, which I'm targeting to run the next as my bucket list. And he ran that and he completed that. We have Anurima Sinha, who climbed Mount Everest with just one leg. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about having a strong will. Nothing can stop you, not even the highest mountains. These stories showcase the resilience, the determination, and the grit required to overcome adversity and achieve success in sports. Sports teaches us valuable skills, discipline, perseverance, teamwork. This is how I experienced it when I did my first Ironman. They help us develop physical and mental well-being. And most importantly, it builds a bit of confidence in you. You can swagger around, with a cavalry swagger if you are a sportsman. And to all our young athletes out here, remember that winning is not just about medals or trophies. It's about pushing yourselves to new heights, learning from setbacks and supporting your teammates. Champions are not made because they just practice. According to me, champions are made because of 3 things. And the first thing that I'll share with you, which has been a part of my own story, has been the desire to achieve goals. While this may sound Greek to some of you right now, but as you grow, any target or any goal in life, you need the desire. I would have never run the Ironman 2 times if I didn't have the desire to do it. I would have started my own organization, which is now a multinational organization in 7 countries, doing training programs, if I didn't have the desire. As Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, the mountaineer, the boxer, who says in his book, Rumble in the Jungle, the second most important thing, apart from desire, to be successful in life, is belief. Having the belief in yourself that you can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, when I cycled up from Siliguri to school, it appears like a cakewalk. But believe me, we cycled uphill 8,500 feet that day, 10.5 hours, with no external support. The conditions were that even if you had a flat tire, we had to fix it ourselves. That was the condition that we put on ourselves. That's the condition that they do when they run those races, international races. And now that I've been doing international races, I've been a little far away from them. It's been about 4.5 years. I plan to spring back, and I've already started training for my next Ironman, and this is going to happen next year in Turkey, 2025. And I've already started working towards it, because when you see me 11 months from now, I'll probably be about 16 kilos lighter. Having said that, the third most important thing that's important to achieve success, one being desire, which I've already mentioned. The second one being belief. The third one is imagination. Dream. Dream big. Dream that you want to achieve something. I'm just going to leave you with that, because I see that beyond this, I'm going to be the bad news. But just those three things I want you to remember. Desire, belief, imagination. There is nothing that you can achieve. One last thing before I get the hell out of this place. They tell me that Bose speakers are quite nice. How many of you have heard of Bose speakers? Please raise your hands. Bose speakers. Bose speakers, please raise your hands. How many of you have heard of Bose speakers? Okay, quite a few of you. So I went to buy a pair of Bose speakers. Yeah. And when I went to that shop, I was asked what was my budget. And I said, my budget is approximately 80,000 rupees. I was told that there are these nice multimedia speakers which are available, which can be attached to your laptop or your computer. I said, I want the whole theater. I certainly don't want multimedia speakers. So this lady at the store, she said, those speakers, they cost about approximately 3.5 lakhs. It starts with about 2.2 lakhs to about 3.5 lakhs. I said, what's so special about these speakers, these Bose speakers? What's the kind of music they make? And she said, if you go into a room, the speaker doesn't have channels. It actually creates the same noise from every corner of the room. The same noise resonates, and there are no channels, there are no systems like Sony says, we've got 6.1 and 7.1. There are no channels. What the Bose speaker does is, it creates the same noise with the same intensity. Now those are not vocal noises, but I wanted her to show it to me. So the lights dim. Every Bose store, if you go to a Bose store in any city in India or anywhere in the world, has an experience room behind it. I went to the experience room and I heard the speakers and they played some Beethoven. Lights dim. They gave me a Costa coffee and I was quite happy. When the lights came on, she asked me, how did you like the noise? How did you like the music? How did it sound? Even the strumming of the guitar and even the movement of the thumbs on the guitar. I said it was good, but what's so special? She said, sound waves are created because there are no channels. It's the same sound that resonates from every corner of a room. And windows actually shake. And even the curtains might slightly start swaying because of the wind. Now I want to see whether St. Paul's School in this prep hall can make the same noise. I want to see whether you are capable of replicating the Bose speakers. And if you are, I'll probably go ahead and spend all that money. Are you willing to do it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Are you willing to make a noise which is similar, which resonates in this room, and if those curtains sway, yeah, if they sway, I'm serious. I'm going to spend some very serious money on buying those speakers. Now, we have to decide what's that sound that we want to make. It has to be the same sound. Everyone in this room, parents, and of course, our teachers, our staff, our students, it has to be the same sound. The clap? Okay. Because with voice it could be soprano, it could be, there could be bass. So you're right. Let's try and clap together. All of you guys. Yeah? Let's try. 1, 2, 3, together. When you guys were clapping, you all were smiling. And you know what? The Bose story is just a story, but you all were smiling when you were clapping. And because you smiled, your clap was very good. that's my last message to you guys. Whatever you do, enjoy it.